Hello again, this is Randy back in the shop today. I thought I'd give you guys a little bit of a shop update, what I've been working on. I've had some work that I haven't filmed. I had a pair of axles I had to fix out of a 66 Plymouth Satellite. What happened was the customer wanted bigger studs put in, and he wanted threaded ones put in, but there was a 5/8 fine thread that I had to drill the holes to, but the holes that were in the axle flanges already were at 600, so to put a 5/8 fine thread in it, there wouldn't have been enough thread engagement. So he bought another pair of axles and that were already threaded, but the space between the front edge of the axle flange and the bearing, he gave the measurements, but they came wrong. So I had to make a spacer for the bearing that's pressed on the axle. So I did that and some other miscellaneous things that I've been busy with doing yard work and everything since the weather's gotten nice. But what I got here on the bench, what I have here on the bench is some castings for a 1/3 scale 5 horsepower Galoway hit and miss engine. And this is the base for it here. I got the top machined and the bottom is already machined, and these are for holding the engine down to your display stand. And I had to machine these pockets out and make these inserts that get epoxied in place. I'm assuming because it was a lot easier to make the pattern for this base piece without this cast into it. And this is the base for this is the engine frame, and I had to machine the bottom of it first. So what I did is I clamped it down, leveled it out the best I could on the raw casting, and I machined this pad here, which is for the cylinder oiler, and the very tops of these main bearing, this is where the crankshaft is going to go through, so it would sit flat. And then I machined the bottom, and I made this fixture plate here. This plate is going to stay on for doing all the machining on this engine frame. It's going to be a 1 3/4 inch bore, and I'm pretty sure it's a 3 3¼ inch stroke. Is what it works out to be. But what I'm going to start on today is I'm going to machine the bearing caps that go on here. This is the material here that the bearing cap is going to get made out of. It's 2-inch 180 wide here now. It needs to be machined down to 1-inch 936 in width. And then I'm going to machine the bottom of it here. It's got to get machined flat and needs to have a step machined in it. So it's going to fit where it's going to fit on the main frame of the engine. It's going to lock it in place. All right, got these bearing caps clamped in the mill vise. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to dust each side until it's flat, and then measure the width, and then take the appropriate amount off each side. table another 10 thousandths here. Yeah, it's got that almost cleaned up. Come up another 10. Okay, I'm going to flip this part over and clean off the other side, and I'm going to measure the width. Okay, I measured the width of this. It's 2-inch 0.98, and it needs to be brought down to 1-inch 9/36. So I got 81 thousandths, take off each side. I'm just going to take 40 a pass here. This is the final cut on the second side here, and I'm going to take it out and measure it. All right, let's take a measure of this here once, see how we did. We're at 935 and a half, so half thou under. That's good. Now what I got to do is I got to machine this face here, and it needs to have a step put in it that's going to locate on the engine frame. Okay, I got the bearing caps, bearing cap mounted in the vise here. I just took a quick pass over the whole thing to check to clean it up. I want to check the thickness here. And I'm showing 430 thousandths. I got to take it down to 265. So I'm going to make some passes on here. When I get close, I'm going to recheck it, and I'll be back. Okay, I'm going to measure this here once with a depth mic and see how much we have left to go. Right now we're at 271. So I got 6 thousandths to take off. So I'm going to raise the table 6 thousandths here. Okay, now I'll finish it. Clean this off here good. Now we'll measure it again. $265, right on the money. Okay. Okay, now what I have to do is I centered up on my part. I need to offset 718 thousandths each direction, and I need to take the thickness down to 218 thousandths. That'll leave a step right in here, and that will be my register that registers the cap on the main frame. So let's go over 718 thousandths. Right there. Okay, I had to raise the table 47 thousandths. Now I got to offset 719 the other direction. Right there. Back over the other side, I got a little bit of an edge here I got to clean up. Do the same thing the other side. There we go, there's our register. Now what I gotta do is I gotta loosen this up. I'm gonna put it in the, move the part over. I need to clean up both ends. And then I need to cut it. A little bit more. Okay, I'm going to take this out of the vise and I'm going to cut it in two. Okay, I got the bearing caps back in here. I got them cut in two and I equalized the length on them. So I have centered up in the y-axis and centered in the x-axis, and I got to come over 718 thousandths and plunge down with an end mill and make a spot for drilling a hole on both sides, on all of them. Make sure I better come up with my table a little bit here. Okay. I'm going to come down with the end mill till the surface just cleans up all the way around. Good right there. I'm going to move, go back to center and move 718 thousandths the other direction. There. Right there. Swap this part out here. Okay, we'll do exactly the same thing. There we go. And they're both like that there. All right, I'm gonna center drill all these, and then I got to run a number 11 drill through them. This one's going to be exactly the same as that. I'll be back when I have that done. Well, there's our bearing caps all completed. You can see the step that's going to fit in the main frame of the engine to locate the cap. Now what I got to do is I got to work on the engine frame, getting the boss's machine for the caps so the caps fit on there, and then get the bore done for the crankshaft and the bearings, get those made. So anyway, that's gonna bring a close to this video. So and I appreciate everybody watching. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.